And let's continue with that story. The MK Party has vowed to oppose the establishment of a Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the South African Police Service. The party's deputy president says that the commission is a waste of time and money and has accused President Cyril Ramaphosa of acting unconstitutionally. The party has given the president until 10 o'clock this morning to reverse his decision to place Police Minister Senzo Mchunu on leave of absence and to appoint an acting minister. For more on this, we are now speaking to the MK Party's Deputy President, Dr John Hlophe. Dr Hlophe, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. What happens after 10 o'clock?
Well, we are going to move an urgent application to court and have the decision that has been made by the president to establish the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, have it set aside for being unlawful and unconstitutional for a number of reasons. Firstly, there is no provision in our constitution for two ministers to head one department. Section 206 of the constitution is very clear. Each department is headed by a minister. What we are having for the first time in this country, in the history of our democracy, is to have two ministers of police heading one department. It is unconstitutional. Furthermore, it is a waste of the taxpayers' money. What the president should do is to use or utilize any of the ministers in the cabinet and appoint them in an acting capacity. This case also illustrates, in our view, that we really don't need deputy ministers because they are not cabinet ministers. What role do they play? If the deputy ministers were, in fact, treated as cabinet ministers, this would have been an instance where the deputy minister of police was going to step into the shoes of the suspended minister and act. So it highlights a number of inaccuracies and things that are wrong in our legal system.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's start off with having two ministers in a position. It's not the first time that the president has placed the minister on a special leave. In 2021, yes. Dr. Zweli Mkhize was also placed on special leave. He was the Minister of Health at the time, and this was because of the Digital Vibes scandal. Are you saying that that too would have been unlawful?
Well, our view is simply this. Remember, in 2021, we were a new kid in the block. Our view is that it was unlawful then. The fact that the president did it in 2021 does not and cannot mean he acted constitutionally. Our view is firmly that there are no such powers in the Constitution. The president cannot act unlawfully. He is not above the Constitution.
Yeah. Yesterday, we spoke to the former NDPP advocate Menzi Simelane, and he says that that the president, although it is not outlined in the statement, but what he reads into it is what the president would be doing is appoint Feroz Kachalia as a minister without a portfolio, and once he's part of cabinet, then he gets appointed as the acting police minister. Do you still find fault in that process?
Well, if you look at it from the point of view of unnecessary expenditure, definitely I find fault with it. In our considered view, given the gravity of the allegations against Minister Mchunu and given his history in that portfolio, there is no reason for Minister Mchunu to be kept. Furthermore, we've just had an instance where the President Cyril Ramaphosa, expelled a deputy minister for undertaking an unauthorized trip overseas, right? That deputy minister was expelled summarily. And it's not for the first time for any minister to be expelled. Nelson Mandela himself expelled Winnie Mandela for undertaking an unauthorized trip. And I think it was former President Thabo Mbeki who expelled Minister Madlala Rotridge for undertaking a trip. I think she was even ordered to pay back the taxpayers' money. So we don't expect a president to treat ministers differently. In our view, the only reason why Minister Senzo Mchunu is treated so favorably, it is because he is part of the Ramaphosa faction. We should remember he was instrumental in the campaign to get Cyril Ramaphosa into power. So he is Cyril Ramaphosa's lapdog. That's why he's not being suspended, notwithstanding such serious allegations against him.
Yeah.
And we are also, yes.
Sorry. No, you can continue, Dr. Hlophe. You are also?
I wanted to add, we are also of the view that the commission in its entirety is unnecessary. The allegations that have been made by Lieutenant General Nkwanas are very clear. They are blow by blow. For example, to the extent that there are allegations relating to a captured judiciary, judges who are captured or who are guilty of any misconduct can be reported to the JSC. Lieutenant General Nkwanas can depose to an affidavit, and the proceedings can take place before the Judicial Service Commission. Those allegations, secondly, made by him relating to the directive that was issued, that the investigation of 121 cases should be stopped. There can be a mere directive from the National Commissioner to the effect that those investigations must carry on.
Okay.
To the extent, yes.
To the extent?
Hello. To the extent that there are certain allegations against certain corrupt policemen and women, even Metro Police, those are single cases, are isolated cases that can be dealt with. Others can be referred to NPA for prosecution. For God's sake, we don't need a commission of inquiry. It's a delaying tactic. We all know that commission after commission of inquiry, the results of the commission are seldom implemented. So this is a waste of the taxpayers' money. Our view is that President Ramaphosa is just buying time.
All right.
Thank you.
Yesterday, the news also came through that Shadrack Sibiya, who is the Deputy Police Commissioner, the head of detectives nationally, has now also been placed on leave of absence or special leave. As the MK party, what do you read into this and this move by the National Police Commissioner, Fani Masemola?
Well, insofar as placing the deputy on special, no reasons were given. But I suppose it's because he's being implicated as well in the report that was filed by Lieutenant General Nkwanas. But there are many other people who have been implicated. Just to merely to suspend the Minister of Police and the Deputy Commissioner, it doesn't solve the problem at all. Because others are still in their offices.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it is, and this is a question that I've been bringing up with my various guests that we've had on the show with regards to this conversation, and that is looking at the counterclaims or accusations that are also made against Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. How then do you deal with that aspect, considering that Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is now perceived as a whistleblower, but according to Shadrack Sibiya, that he is actually also somebody who has been in the wrong, and investigations are underway around how General Khumalo, for instance, started what they are now calling a rogue unit?
Thank you. If there are specific allegations against Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, he must be dealt with accordingly, like anybody else. So I'm not suggesting that he should not be disciplined, but provided, obviously, that there is substance or merit in those allegations. That's a separate issue altogether. If a person is a whistleblower, but that particular person's hands are not clean, there is no reason why that particular individual should not be dealt with. It does not, however, mean that the allegations that that individual raises should not be investigated. Our view as the MK party is that these allegations are very serious. They go to the very root, and they go to the very root, to the very bottom. They are shaking the very foundation of our security and our democracy. Furthermore, in relation to the judiciary, I made this point yesterday. It doesn't make sense to appoint a sitting judge. There is a decided case by the Constitutional Court. It had to do with the Willem Heath Commission. The appointment of the late Judge Willem Heath, who's late now, was set aside by Constitutional Court precisely because when he was appointed, to head the Velem Heat Commission, he was a serving judge. Justice Madlala is a serving judge. He has been appointed now in July. I'm aware that he is going to retire, I think, end of July. But the important thing is that he is appointed at the time when he's a serving judge. And I can assure you, to appoint a serving judge to investigate other judges, the result is a foregone conclusion. He will never find any corruption in the judiciary. These are his colleagues. It's like asking a prostitute to investigate allegations of prostitution. The prostitute will come back to you and tell you that there is no prostitution, who are not kids, who are old enough.
Yeah, but the judicial conduct tribunals would also be headed by judges who would be listening into complaints about fellow judges.
Yes, I appreciate that, but that is a recognized structure. It's not just judges. I'm aware of that. I was a judge myself. Issues of discipline within the JSC are handled by a limited JSC consisting of judges and the professionals. These would be advocates, these would be academics, these would be attorneys as well. It's the professionals. The only difference between the small JSC, as we normally refer to it, it doesn't have politicians. Then the expanded JSC, consisting of about 24 members. That's when you include politicians. But issues of discipline before the JSC are always handled by the professionals. As I said, it's the judges, it's the attorneys, it's the representatives of the bar or the advocates, as well as the academics. There are no politicians who sit there, but it's not correct that it's only judges. That is not true, sir.
All right. The committee that has been, the two committees, three committees that have been set up to probe these allegations in Parliament, two of them are sitting today, Justice and Constitutional Development, as well as the Committee of Police. What is the MK Party's posture in those meetings and those deliberations? What will it be? And what is it that the MK Party would want to see out of that process that will be part of the final report that gets voted on by the National Assembly?
I think in relation to the police portfolio, we are going to go for the jugular, go for the head of Minister Senzo Mchunu. There will be no peace until such time that he has been expelled, not suspended, but expelled, because he is now suspended or put on special leave, so to say, but all of that is done at the expense of the taxpayer. I heard the SG of the ANC, Mr. Fikile Mbalula, saying Minister Mchunu is still a member of Parliament, he is an MP, he is free to carry on with his duties. Now, that to me is even problematic. What kind of suspension is that? He's suspended as a minister, but he may sit in Parliament. We don't want him in Parliament. Now, from the point of view of the Justice Portfolio Committee, I would expect Commander Nomvalo, who represents us on that, to take a similar posture, i.e., the whole thing is a charade. It's a waste of the taxpayers' money. We don't need yet another commission because the result is a foregone conclusion. Namely, the judge will find nothing wrong with the allegations relating to judicial capture. He will say they're baseless, there's hearsay, the usual story. So we'll be pushing a narrative that this is a waste of time, this is unconstitutional, we don't want this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you personally, Dr. Hlophe, having former colleagues that are still serving in the judicial system, you haven't heard anything that has come your way in relation to some of these allegations?
No, nothing has come to my way in relation to these allegations. All I can say, I'm glad I left the bench. I was forced out of it, but I'm glad on reflection. In the light of these allegations, I would never want to be part of a judiciary that is regarded as being captured.
Yeah.
I'm glad. That's all I can say.
And finally, the MK party yesterday also issuing a statement in relation to protest action in support, of course, of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, and saying that the party does not support any violence. Everything should be done within the bounds of the law. Yesterday, there was a press briefing by the minister in the presidency, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, where they discussed issues of a potential unrest. And some of it, as the conversation that we had with the Minister of Defence, was that issues relating to Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi may or could lead to potential unrest. As the MK party, what do you read into this? Is this a scare tactic at all?
As the MK party, our cadres, our commanders are disciplined. I can assure you, as long as I'm a member of the MK party, I will never support violence. We are law-abiding citizens. We are not thugs. Even when we say the Constitution with specific reference to Section 25 relating to the land issue, we want to bring about constitutional amendments through a democratic process. We don't support violence. We've been victims of violence in this country. I'm 66 years old now. I have seen more than enough in terms of violence. We're mobilizing our ground forces to protest within the four corners of the law, to express their right, to express their discontent, to express the fact that we're not happy about what is happening in the country. The corruption seems to be endemic. It's never ending. So we don't support violence at all. Our ground forces are well disciplined, and we monitor all our marches. I have myself participated in various marches. I have never participated in any demonstration where there is violence. We condemn any violence. The instruction to our ground forces are loud and clear. Demonstrate peacefully. Don't damage property. Don't loot. We're not thieves. We're law-abiding citizens. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Dr. John Hlophe is the Deputy President of the MK Party.